Welcome back, WDRB Media, and I'm your host, LJ Shepard, right here on Swiss Money Radio. And you know something I find out in doing radio for so long when I used to do it, and now doing this digital radio, the best conversations always come off air. It always happens like that. Even when I used to interview celebrities back in upstate New York and in DC, always the best conversation come off air, and it's happening right now. We're having a great conversation about industries, about people's fears, or what motivate them to move forward. And I'm gonna just throw out a word, and I'm gonna just let you guys run with it.
All right,
it's fair enough. I'm gonna just throw out a word, and the word right now is deadline, because you said something about deadline, and when we talk about having a deadline of doing something, what was you guys' deadline to say? I'm going to do this at this point, because if you don't have it written down or know what you're going to do, you're usually not going to move on it. So that's the word, deadline. What was your point of that?
Yeah, so this was like mid 2015. I'm at that second sales job. And like I said, I'm building up the business, and I reached a maximum point where I was making a couple thousand a month, maybe a little more on the side. But it was just limit. Like I just saw that it grew and then it flatlined because I was literally working 80 plus hours a week, all weekend, every evening, doing my side thing because I just didn't. And then that was the maximum amount of time. And I said, okay, January 1st, I'm leaving this job. Like I want to build up a little more savings. I was a little bit afraid, given I honestly had plenty of savings. I probably had 6 months of savings up, but I just still wanted to have a little bit more. So I just set a deadline of January 1st. Like if I don't do that, likely this cycle will just continue. This is unsustainable. I can't work these many hours, and there's no point in me quitting what I've built up. There's so much momentum. All my motivation is my side hustle. I have zero motivation at my day job anymore. Zero motivation. All my motivation is my side hustle. I've built it up really, really well over the last 6 to 8 months, and if I don't do this, I'll just kill myself, so I'll have to quit one of the two eventually. Yeah. I can't keep this up, so that's what I'm going to do.
And that was your deadline. And Greg, what about yourself? What was your deadline? And I know in your industry is a lot different.
Yeah.
Your industry of marketing is a whole different animal over there.
It's a different animal. And my deadline was I just wanted to make sure I did it before I was dead. Right? I mean, that's basically it.
That's a long time out.
You know, it could be 2 years from now, it could be 30 years from now. But I had to make sure that at some point I had gathered enough knowledge and insight to do this on my own. In my industry, you know, I like to say our industry is full of entrepreneurs. If you're not thinking like an entrepreneur in the advertising industry, then you're probably in the wrong business. Because we never shut it off. You know, Scott talks of 80-hour weeks, and you know that's not out of the ordinary in my business. But there's the 80 hours a week where you're coming in on weekends and working late nights. But then there's also, you know, you go home and you have a moment to think. That's when the ideas come. Right? You can't have a creative person sit behind a desk from 9 to 5 and say, okay, come up with ideas now.
Yeah.
All right. When I was in New York, some of my best ideas came when I was taking the bus home at a Port Authority, and I'm sitting on the bus just staring at the traffic, and all of a sudden my mind is now freed up to think about the work, and now the ideas are coming.
Yeah.
Right? Because the pressure of doing it in the office when you got people sitting right across from you, it doesn't always happen. You can't flip a switch and have it turn on.
Yeah, and your industry, like we were talking off air, was a little different. And that, like, your fear was always getting fired from a job.
Oh yeah.
But see, as a corporate engineer, you can get in these big companies, fly under the radar, make your salary, get your 2% increase a year, and do that. And there's so many people that are satisfied with that. But that wasn't me.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not happy, first of all, with this lifestyle of being stuck in here. Like, I love to travel, for example. And I went to Australia last year and asked nobody. I just did it. And I stayed as long as I wanted. That's not the reality in a corporate job. You have 2 weeks vacation for the entire freaking year. And, you know, you need to get permission to even use it. And all of that stuff, like, I could never be happy, even though I had job security. That was, like, the main difference of my point here. That wasn't good enough for me.
So where did that come from? Where did that inner drive come from for you?
I don't know. Maybe it's just my personality.
Okay.
You know, but I was just never happy. And like you said, that tipping point, the breaking point, maybe it wasn't one day, but it got to the point where I woke up and just dreaded going to work. There was nothing I was looking forward to other than leaving work at the end of the day. And if that's your reality, you've got to do something about it.
And Greg, your excitement right now, since you're doing your own thing, is your own business,
Right.
Intangibles, and that's a great. First of all, that's a great name.
Oh, thank you.
For your
It took me a
business.
long time to come up with that.
It's
The
a
hardest
great
thing to
one.
do is market yourself. I'm telling you, clients can pay me. I've done it for 25 plus years. I can market any client. When it comes to marketing yourself, that's when you have the chat. That's the biggest challenge.
So you can sit here and with your mind and with your experience, you could really sit here and market, basically sit down with somebody and just, okay, this is what
Right.
the X, Y, and Z is what you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, the Intangibles it's a name specifically because it speaks to the experience people will have working with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, being in and out of so many different agencies throughout my career, I saw what works and what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I saw all the crap that goes on, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw all the stuff that makes agencies successful.
Yeah.
And I vowed that if, like, when I finally have my agency consulting group, that's going to be the premise of why we exist. It's
Mm-hmm.
like we're free of the layers and the bureaucracies, right? You don't have, negative people in the hallways bad-mouthing clients. I used to hear that at agencies all the time. I'd walk through the hallways and creators would say, oh, the clients didn't buy our idea. They're so stupid. And I would always tell my teams that I supervise, I said, listen, I don't ever want to hear you say a client is stupid, okay? First of all, clients know more about their business than you will ever know, okay? They just don't know what we know how to do.
Yeah.
So the key is to make sure that we can help them solve their problem with our expertise and draw on their expertise to come up with the solution. And that's what I plan to do.
Right now, I'm sitting here listening to both of you guys' story, and what's coming to my mind is thinking entrepreneurs could be born or they could be developed.
Right.
And I hear, Scott, it sounds like a born nature thing
Yep.
that you're doing, and Greg, you was developed into it.
Came to me over the years.
Over years that it come, but you're both at the same point in life. And I always wanted to ask that question. Well, is entrepreneurs born or are they developed? And it sounds like it could be both, and it's all right to be both because you're doing it right now. You just didn't hate you. Hated it.
And my personality was a lot different than most of the other engineers. Like, I think a lot of engineers are really reserved, like quiet, like more introvert.
Mhm.
I kind of was that way younger, but then in college I came more extroverted and more of a people person, I guess. And it's like sitting behind a desk and just designing or just doing paperwork all day was just a drag. I mean, that's what's great about now is like I still have the creative side and I get to design, but I also talk to people the number of projects I've done and different things is crazy and it's different every day. And so it's just a nice mix, So it just fits me, my personality so much better than just sitting behind a desk.
And that's really what business is. It's finding the right personality that you want to work with. And I just believe that people want to work with people they like, right? And every agency in the world, mine included, can do what you need it to do. It can come up with print campaigns, it can come up with a brand campaign, it can do anything. But what makes the Intangibles unique, that makes every other agency unique, is the people that you're working with.
And your style, where does your style come from? And I know that could be many different things, but what do you look at, or what motivates you to say, okay, I could help them do X, Y, and Z, and where did that all come from on your end?
My style or how I decide, you got to have values, you have to have morals, right? I've passed up pretty lucrative jobs in New York City for the fact that I wouldn't work on cigarette advertising.
Okay.
Right? Some people will work in healthcare, some people will work in agricultural. One of my former clients was an ag company, and we would market their products for corporate growers, right? And this wasn't my agency, but this was at an agency I was working for. And I thought about it, and I said, if I ever had my agency, would I ever want them as a client? I had a great relationship with them that was built over, years of being true and authentic and just being human about it, right? And I thought about it. I said, I don't think I could justify that because the chemicals that growers are putting on their crops to get more yield per acre, in my clients' eyes, they feel that's a positive thing. We're creating more food, so we're actually helping feed the world.
Yeah.
They looked at it very altruistically. I looked at it as putting chemicals on crops that are going to kill people.
Yeah.
Right. So in my head, I couldn't rationalize it. So I had to really think about the type of client I would want to work with. It's got to be aligned with my values.
Okay.
Right. Like I want to work with good people. I want to do good work for good people who are producing good products.
Okay.
Right. Nothing that's just a flash in a pan. That's going to be a quick turn. It's got to be something that's sustainable. That's going to really, mean something and matter.
And what I want you guys to what will you guys pass down to the next generation of people that want to become entrepreneurs? What is that one golden nugget that you might have right now? And I'm gonna let you guys talk about that. And then when we come back, we're gonna end the show with promoting your business and everything you guys do and who's your typical client. But give us a golden nugget that you could say, this is what moved me and this is what I run with.
Yeah, I get asked this question all the time, but I think it's just taking action. It's just getting started. I mean, if I think reading the right book or talking to the right person can do it. If I hadn't decided to do, at least just open my mind up and try it, I wouldn't be where I am.
Okay.
It had to come from within. I had to do it. No one's gonna make you.
Yeah.
No one's gonna do it. It has to be you that starts it.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're very satisfied right now.
This is very sustainable. Like what I do now, the lifestyle I have, like financially, everything is sustainable. Like I found a situation that will work forever.
Okay.
Will I do it forever? Maybe I'll get tired of it, possibly. But that's not what I see. What I mean? That's not where I am now.
Okay,
So.
and then we're gonna definitely make sure we talk about that. Give you time to plug all your information. And Greg, what is that piece for you?
I think the piece for me is just understanding and recognizing your value. I think once you recognize your true value, you'll know that working for somebody else, you'll never be compensated for what you're really worth. Mm-hmm. All right, you're going to fit into a bucket of a salary, but most people no company can pay them what their true value is. But on the flip side, you got to be pretty honest with yourself, because everyone wants to say, "Well, I'm worth this," but are you really worth that? Mm-hmm. Right? You have to have a pretty honest conversation with yourself and say, "What am I really delivering to this client, or what I offer?" And know what's around in the market and know what you can really tag as your value.
Yeah, and to your point there, in order to get paid what you're truly worth, you have to be an owner of the company, either a partner or yourself.
Right.
You have to be at the top level, and there's a certain level of risk or uncertainty compared to a traditional job. So you have to be willing to take that as well.
Yeah. Somebody once told me you'll never realize your true value working for somebody else.
Yeah.
Great point. Great way to end it. So what the takeaway is: take action and know your worth. That's the really the golden nugget that you guys are leaving with. But when we come back, they're going to talk about their business, where they can find you, where you can find them, the numbers, emails, social media, anything that for you could get in contact with them right here on WDRB Media. I'm your host LJ Shepard on Swiss Money Radio. See you in a minute.
All right, let me look at my socials.